indicated that on that night he wasn't at home. However, she at some point later realized that no, on that night he was
home, right? And his
with his
sister, his
siblings.
dad, all of them were
right,
exactly.
and his family was there, and his alibi was never questioned at court. And along with a lot of other elements that I don't believe were met, but according to the jury, the prosecution met the requirements for all of those elements in that crime, and he was sentenced to death. And he's exhausted all his appeals, and the prosecutor on the case is now in a position where he is contesting any parole or pardon of this young man. So that's kind of where we are right now. There was a petition started. There was a documentary. About him, and it was put out back in 2018. And that documentary was called "The Last Defense." And right after that, there was a petition started for to have him his sentence commuted or have him pardoned. And
don't leave out that asshole district attorney Macy.
Prater.
No,
Prater.
Macy.
Macy.
Yeah, he 1/3 of his death row convictions have been overturned from prosecutorial misconduct. Right.
Okay.
Say that 3 times, but yeah.
So no, I just want to give folks a little bit of context so that everybody can be up to speed on what was going on with this young man's case. And if they wanted to support, you provided the link in the comment section, and anybody can click on that link and sign a petition. So Tia, what do you think about it? What do you think about the Jones case?
I think that happens all too much in our current judicial system. Like our people aren't given even the benefit of the doubt. Like it's not even you're innocent until you're proven guilty. You're guilty until you can prove without a shadow of a doubt that it's kind of reversed for our people. For Black people, you don't get the benefit of the doubt, right? You're not innocent until proven guilty. You're guilty until proven innocent. So one thing, in my opinion, he has enough people given the facts, right? So there's people that was in the prison that the guy that he was supposedly with that said that he had nothing to do. Like he told people that he didn't have anything to do with it. Like, so I mean, even that, and if you can get people to testify to that, I mean, how you gonna just kill this man? And I know it's Oklahoma, but still, like, how you gonna just kill this man for something he ain't do? How you gonna have him in jail for 19 years for something he ain't do?
Well, you know now he's been in jail for 22 years.
22 years?
He's been in since 1991. He's been in jail. Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if y'all click that link, you can find out, the details that we're talking about this case. And what we would like you guys to do is to click on the petition, to sign the petition, and have it emailed to the parole board, which he already got like a couple million signatures already. But I think he needs more than that. Like I don't know, why you would need more than 1 million signatures. But
let's say now, I just want to, like you said, I wanted to bring a little bit more attention to his co-defendant, this fella Jordan, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So it's been said that Jordan, and this was said by Jones, that Jordan copped that plea to get a lower sentence, because they were seeking the death penalty for this kid Jordan too. And they're saying he implicated this kid Jones so that he would receive a lighter sentence and he wouldn't be sentenced to death. And it's also been said that Jordan has admitted to a bunch of people inside the prisons that he was the shooter. He's the person that murdered that fella. And now I don't know if he said that Jones was not involved at all. But he has stated on a number of occasions to fellow inmates that he did murder him. But, it would stand to reason because he pled guilty. Well, I can't even say that it would stand to reason because he pled guilty that he would go on to say that he killed that man, because there are plenty of people in our prison systems today that pled guilty to crimes that they were not guilty of, just because of the pressure that they were placed under, because they weren't allowed to actually participate in their defense from behind bars. Because, a lot of our community members, people that look like me and you, are held with high bails that we can't afford to pay. We can't afford to get out, and people looking for the best and fastest way to get out. So when you entice folks with a shorter sentence, you take the death penalty off the table, and a host of other things, folks will cop a plea. So that's the nature of the beast. So a lot of folks that are inside that cop pleas, they're not necessarily guilty of those crimes they committed. And I wanted to also say this,
and this touch home for me too, just because my oldest son went through the same thing. It wasn't a murder case, but it was a case, nonetheless. It was a robbery case, and the guy that actually did the robbery copped a plea. I mean, my son was there. He was. What happened to my son is he was walking, in the hood, and he got with this boy, one of his dudes that he know from the hood. He was like, "Yo, my man, do me a favor. I'm about to run in here right quick, and whatever. Just watch the door for me." He said, "All right, I'll stand here, make sure no cops coming or whatever." Whatever. Which was stupid. I know that was stupid on his part. I'm not giving him a pass on that. But the boy said that he did it. You know what I'm saying? So my son did 14 years for that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that's bullshit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he had evidence to the contrary, whatever, but they're not trying to hear that.
Right.
They're not trying to hear that, man.
I wanted to say, as far as that, and I appreciate that, man. A lot of black people, black men specifically, have stories, that are identical. They mirror, the fundamentals down to a T. In prison right now, in the United States of America, 42% of death row inmates are black men. That's not just people of color or minorities or, black and brown people. It's black men make up 42% of the population slated to be executed by the U.S. government, and that's just a indicator of what the criminal justice system looks like in America, period, because the numbers are disproportionate throughout the criminal justice system with regards to incarceration, executions, higher sentences, lengthier sentences, lengthier probation and parole, more strict guidelines while they're under probation and parole. And so it stands to reason that there's a number of black folks in prison today that shouldn't be in prison, let alone shouldn't be on death row. And when it comes down to the death penalty, all the way up until 2016, I was a supporter of the death penalty until. But
see, I'm a supporter of it if a motherfucker kill somebody or ruin somebody's family, or something like that. I'm okay with the death penalty. If it's if it's proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that the person did it and he killed, a child, or even if he did something crazy, to hurt somebody, then yeah, he get what he get. But see, I'm against it when the evidence is not concrete. You know what I mean?
Yeah, see, but when it comes to the death penalty, I was a supporter of it for a long time because I felt like a lot of folks who commit, heinous crimes, violent crimes, crimes against women, crimes against children, I felt like those people should be put to death. And you know what? To some degree, I kind of still feel like that, but I'm not a supporter of the death penalty in America. I was asked this question back in 2016, and my answer was, I support the death penalty so long as it's doled out equally, right? But the problem with that is it will never be doled out equally. And what made me change my mind about the death penalty was my mentor, Michael Kort, and he made me aware. I may have been aware of it, but he really punched it home when he, kind of laid it out for me to just kind of let me know. Listen, if one person is executed by the government who's innocent, the whole system should be taken apart. We should not allow
and I agree with that. Like I said,
person to death. And I say, all right. So what happens is our government employs and has employed since the end of slavery this system called the Southern Strategy, right?
Yeah,
and
or the peanut system.
We gonna go to the Southern Strategy, which states, or which actually says, we want to disenfranchise Black folks, but while we're disenfranchising Black folks, there are some white folks who are also going to be disenfranchised because they're going to find themselves similarly situated to these Black folks right now. The Southern Strategy says, okay, even that being the case, we will sacrifice those white folks for the sake of disenfranchising a larger percentage of the Black population. That's what mirrors the death penalty. The death penalty is, we'll dole out the death penalty because we know we're going to ensnare so many Black people in it, but we're willing to give up a white person here and there as long as we can do that.
But listen to this, guy. I'm not saying that the death penalty should be taken away altogether, but my feelings about the death penalty comes because it's hit me personally, right? So I know you have a son. Your son just went off to college and everything like that. So picture somebody murdering your son on his right in front of his house.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't be an advocate of stopping the death penalty. I don't think.
I would probably.
You would want that boy to burn, because when my son died, when my son got murdered, they gave this boy. This happened recently. They gave him like 20 years. So when or was it 30 years? No, it was 25 years, I think. But when he gets out of prison, he'll be my age. He'll be able to continue living his life. You know what I mean? Have a family, do whatever he need to do, work, be. You know what I'm saying? My son is in the ground.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. This is just me, but you know how I roll. I'm an eye for an eye.
Listen,
you know what I mean?
I am too.
You kill one of mine, I'm gonna kill a couple of more. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, I'm not a violent dude, though. You know what I mean? But
right. As a parent, I totally agree with you 100%. If something was to happen to a loved one of mine, I would probably be at that person's door with every weapon in my arsenal to ensure that person does not walk out of that situation.
I thought that too, but it was nothing. I ain't gonna say it was nothing I could do, but I was at a crossroads, right? Because I know what I was getting ready to do. I had came down to Philly, armed up and all that kind of stuff. But the thing is, that goes against what I'm trying to do now, for one, right? And the other thing is, if I'd have went in that guy's house, or if I'd have found him at that time, I'd have killed. I ain't gonna. That's taking the show to another thing. But what I'm saying is, I had the strength not to do it. That's stronger than it took a lot for me not to do that. You understand? Like it took a lot, you know, and because I'm always screaming, somebody do something to somebody in my family, yo, it's on. I mean, I went down there strapped to the gills and all that, but then I had to recognize, man, I got nieces, nephews, little kids running around down there. You know what I mean? And I think unless you actually go through that, it's hard to say what you'll do. And I had a lot of responsibilities that I had to think about as well. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm taking care, my family, my grandkids, my kids and all that. So I had to kind of that was the hardest thing that was the worst thing that ever happened to me in my life. You get what I'm saying? Yeah.
I do.
So
I do.
yeah,
That's some news you never want to get about your child. And I agree with you 100%. The only reason why I say I'm not a proponent now of the death penalty is because it affects too many Black people, and the numbers are so disparate, and so many Black people are put to death that shouldn't be put to death. That's the reason why. I do believe in an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. Eventually we'll all be walking around with no eyes and gumming our food and shit. But I do believe. I think that until we can find a way to dole out a sentence like that with absolute certainty, I just don't think it's something that's going to work for folks.
That's kind of what led up to this whole podcast, this whole movement, man. Like, I know my son was killed, and he was sacrificed for this movement. You get what I'm saying?
I do.
Like, I wanted to make a difference. Like, that's my whole thing. Like, if I can reach one person, or if I can reach some of these young knuckleheads out here that's just killing each other for nothing, you know what I mean? If I can get them to follow me or to follow us instead of following this nonsense, you know what I mean? We can. Right. That's the only way we're gonna come out of this hole we in.
Right.
Our community has to come together, and we have to pull up our people with us. You know what I'm saying? Everything has to be like a grassroots sort of undertaking. You feel what I'm saying?
I do, and I think that leads us right into our next topic of integration versus segregation, because you're talking about community and what it's going to take to bring, a lot of us.
Hey, that's a good transition. I like that, my man. I like that. That's good, man. All right, yeah. So we're gonna talk about integration or separation. Right. So the question that came up, because we were talking about, me and Stacey kind of view this a little bit differently. He's all about integration, and I am too, but to a certain extent. You get what I mean? Like, because the thing is, integration is good, but until we have the what's your word? What's your word, guy?
Which one?
Not equality. Equity. Until we have equity.
Right.
You know what I mean? We can't depend on the white people or government or anybody else to take care of our community. We have to start taking care of our own community. So
what I say about integration and wait, so go tell us again, where do you stand on integration?
So I wish we could be separate. That's what I wish, because we could if we was at the point where our young people wasn't killing each other in record numbers, or our poverty rate wasn't record numbers, then I would say, okay, yeah, we can integrate because we got our shit together. But until we get our shit together, I think we should be separate until we can heal. Once our communities can heal, then we can reach out and start segregating if we need to or if we want to. But until that time, we have to concentrate on getting a strong community like it used to be. We need a strong community. That's what's missing. That crack fucked us up for a while. We lost a couple generations. So we have to kind of backtrack and then scoop everybody up and be like, look, we got you. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And go ahead. Yeah.
As far as integration and segregation go, I think I was once on the side of segregation, right? And that's, I think, in part and parcel with growing and learning. You have to have the ability to look at things and change, right? So for a while there, I was even on I produced an EP back in 17, I think it was. Yeah, 17, 4 years ago. And on that EP, one of the artists, Easter the Hardhead, shout out to Easter the Hardhead. Thanks for participating, Young Blood. You was tight and your verse was sick, and I still remember this line, right? No, this is a half a bar. He said, I'd rather segregate and meditate until it pans out. And that supports what you're saying, right? That was a line that was a bar from half a bar from a song called The People. And he said, I'd rather segregate and meditate till it pans out. And I felt that, right? Because my thing is, or was at the time, why am I integrating with a group that doesn't want to integrate, that doesn't want me there? I'd rather segregate. But the more I thought about it and gave it, more consideration, I feel like it's almost necessary for us to integrate. Number one, because we got to look at history and how we got to where we are today. And we experimented with separate but equal. We experimented with that, and that didn't work.
Because we don't have the infrastructure. See, that's the thing. That's why I'm in the middle, kinda. You know what I mean? We need to integrate because we don't have the infrastructure that they have, right? But we shouldn't. I don't think we should depend on anybody helping us. We should help ourselves.
So let's say it like this. Okay, so that's the point that I was getting to. There is infrastructure in other communities that is not fully developed in our communities, and that's basically for the most part the financial infrastructure, right? So our communities breed poverty, and that's by design. That's not some haphazard or accident. That's by design, right? So if there's an infrastructure in America, right? If there's an infrastructure for a community in America, I don't want to be separated from that infrastructure because it's there, right? I do want to develop the infrastructure in my community, but we're all Americans. And if there are resources out there that can be used, we need to be in a position at all times to have access to those resources and have access to that support. And if that's in other communities, I'm not one to say you're going to shut me out of that community because I don't look like you or because I think I need to
develop right. Now, in that vein, yeah. But what I'm saying is, like, when we talk about integration and separation, right? Separation to me means that we are fully functional, standing on our own 2 feet. You know what I mean? We are financing our own projects in our own communities, that sort of deal. But we don't have like I said, we don't have the infrastructure, or we don't have what's the word? We're not there yet. You know what I'm saying? Right. We don't have that foundation. So right now we really don't have a choice but to integrate. You know what I mean?
I don't think the choice is a bad choice, though. I think it's a decent choice because if we're looking to change the situation or how Black folks are situated in America, it's going to take more than Black folks hollering to the world that we need change. It's going to take the world to holler along with Black folks and say, yeah, we all need change, because it's not just Black folks that need change. It's other populations that need to change and conform to Black culture, right? Because we're here and we ain't going nowhere.
But the thing is, we can't. So the one thing about integration is we can't control how they think. We can't. There's no way for us to control. We've been doing that. We've been trying to, control how they think for a while. We've actually been trying to get them off our necks for a while. So we can't control that part. Only thing we can do is strengthen our communities. So that part doesn't even matter. You get what I mean? So if we build our own infrastructure, like, what's wrong with us? Like, I know people have a problem with. We were talking about this last week about the integration in the neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? Like the gentrification and all that. You know what I mean? So, and we were going like the pros and cons of gentrification and everything. But what I'm like, instead of complaining about white folks moving into your neighborhoods, pool your resources together and buy a building just like they did. Well, buy a building, fix it up, do the same thing, rent it out, live in it, whatever. You know, if we keep doing that, like this is what we're missing. We should have sort of like a venture capital, a Black venture capital, right? That's financed by our own community. Like each community should have a venture capital group. You get what I'm saying? So that way, you pool. You don't have to be rich to do anything. You pool a couple months. You could sell shares if you want. You could buy shares of stock in your own neighborhood. You get what I'm saying? So we could slowly. And that's one of the projects when I was telling you about. Like, I'm so fucking busy all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's another project that when we get our community center up, which is probably going to take a couple years, but that's on the back burner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once we do that, we'll be able to say, I want to set up a program where we could sell shares. We could sell shares of stock and purchase a building or purchase, whatever. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then communities can get, if you buy, just like the stock exchange. So
Right.
if you buy and sell, if you buy a certain amount of shares into your community, then you'll get a certain amount back. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or to invest more or do whatever. You know what I mean? So that's on the back burner, and I think that will help us to, if we could get that going, like in different neighborhood, not just our neighborhood, but get that going like across like thousands of neighborhoods, then you start seeing the change, and then we could and we be able to fully integrate or whatever we want to do. You know what I'm saying? And then that will also, I think that will also curb the violence in our communities as well.
Yeah, listen, I agree. Ownership in your community is important. When you carrying a bucket of water, you're less apt to spill that water if you're the person that went over to the well and got that
And
water.
got that water, exactly. Right.
So ownership in your community, is it means a lot. And I do see the gentrification and all that. And that's another move based on race. Folks want to move into our communities,
but we could gentrify our own neighborhoods.
Well, we could.
We could niggify our own neighborhoods.
We could.
You know what I'm saying? We could.
The problem is, I think part of the problem is the banks, the appraisers, those places who value our property, who valuate our property, right? So, and I think that's a racist system, and thinking about racist systems in America, that's a very racist system in America. That's one of the most racist systems in America. And on that note,
but we can use that against them though, because if they don't give us a high value in our properties and our hoods, we could buy it all up. We could buy it. You know what I'm saying? If they want to fuck us like that, we just buy up everything. You get what I'm saying?
They buying it from us. That's what that gentrification is. We own our neighborhoods. They coming in and they taking, they buying it up at dirt cheap prices because the property value at present, while the community is mostly populated by Black and brown people, they don't value those property until white folks come in and they start buying everything up. Then you see a $60,000 house down at Tempton Burks now it's going for $500,000.
But while it's $60,000, why don't we buy it? You get what I'm saying? Like, why don't
we own it though?
The community buy it? Oh, well, then why don't we fix it up?
We don't have the money to. We can't get the value on the property increased to a point where there's enough equity in the house so that we can take that equity and fix that property up.
So if you have a house and it's worth, they say it's worth $60,000, right?
Right.
You have families that have been in these houses for generations. So you can't tell me that they don't have at least $10,000-$20,000 worth of equity in these homes, right?
There's hundreds of thousands of dollars in true equity in these homes after they demolish that property and they put a new building up on that property. That property is worth it, but the problem is getting the banks and appraisers to appraise those properties at that value prior to this Black person selling that piece of property to some other person of the
but
different.
See, that and what you just said is part of what that's part of what I'm talking about. Like we shouldn't be depending on those banks or whatever. If we had a what do you call those for funding?
Capital?
Capital investment groups.
Okay.
Or stuff like that. We don't need no bank. If we get enough people in our community to put money together to fix up, yo man, we could fix, just like these white people do. We could fix up a building, sell it for whatever we're gonna sell it for. Take that money, buy another build. I mean, it's the same. Like for us to do it is no different for us to do it than how they do it. But we just don't put that effort into that like that.
And a lot of what you're talking about, TL, is based in critical race theory. And it's based in education or the miseducation or the uneducation of Black folks. And I
which
think
we're going to be talking about in a little bit too. Right?
I think we slide right into it now.
Okay.
You know, that's what I'm thinking, you know, because this is a part of critical race theory and this is a part of education. There's a lot of people in our communities, me included. I don't have my finger on the pulse of the real estate market across the country, in my state, or even in my city. You know, I do keep my eye on property values in my neighborhood and in my community because I want to know what the value of my property is, and I want to know, you know, what the market looks like.
Right.
And you know, so that's one thing. However, critical race theory teaches us things like redlining, which is one of the main factors in us not being able to build equity in our homes, right? Mm-hmm. Because it's just like in South Africa, there was a divide, there was a border. On one side, you would see the population 10 times as dense as it was on the side of the minorities, the ruling class in South Africa, right? So the same thing happened in America, where if you took a step back and you looked at it like from a Google Maps above, you could see those lines and you could see where the population was densely packed in by design, and you could see where the population was loosely packed in, so that folks could enjoy privacy, they could enjoy a different quality of life, right?
Right.
And now that these metropolitan areas are up and coming and people want to live in them and they want to be close to everything that's popping and everything that's going on, they want to be a part of this culture in our cities, right? Now they say, okay, you can move back into those communities, we'll increase the property value once you get back in there. We just got to, you know, and I think that's just all a part of like critical race theory. And I think that piece, along with several other pieces, are pieces that should be taught in our schools at the grade school level, starting at the grade school level. I think children can start to understand a lot about critical race theory early on in their education, 6th grade, 5th grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, especially in high school. Yes, because you got to prepare these kids to move on into life. And not only should they learn about critical race theory, I think they should learn about their rights as a citizen in America, because just because you're under 18, that don't mean you don't have rights in America, because you do enjoy those rights.
And they teach history, but they don't teach history. You feel what I'm saying? Like,
well, that's critical race theory. Critical race theory is going to teach you history.
They don't teach real history. Right.
It's whitewashed and it's watered down. I mean, it's just like the term slavery. Everybody says slavery. Slavery don't hold this. It's not this term that people identify with terrorism. It's not a word that people identify with rape. It's not a term that people identify with murder. It's not a term that people identify with terrorism. But slavery is that. Fundamentally, it's that at its basics. Racism, I mean, slavery was something that you had to terrorize people. You know, in slavery, you raped men, you raped women. You know, you would cut off a man's genitalia, stick it down his throat, hang him from a tree. You know, tie a man to the ground and put the strap across his back. Give him 100
I think that
stripes.
got a lot to do with the way they was treated too.
The way who was treated?
Black folks back in the day. Yeah, when they was cutting off dicks and sticking them in their mouth and hanging people and all that. That shit was jealousy, bro.
It was.
That shit was it was jealousy. They like, how this nigga got a dick like that? Like,
call it what it is. It's called big dick envy. It's called big dick envy, bro.
Yeah, for real.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
Like, man, that's another reason why they don't like black men to be with white women,
because of that what they believe to be a physical characteristic that, you know, black folks are well endowed. Which listen, I ain't never walked around looking at nobody's nothing. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what nobody else got. Right?
I got my own. That's you know what I'm saying.
Right, exactly. I look down when I go to the bathroom. You know what I mean?
Right. You know what I'm saying? Right.
That's their business. You know, that's your jewels and all that. But that was, you know, but a lot of that fear was perpetuated just to continue that peculiar institution of slavery. You know what I'm saying? And I think
that was the strangest shit ever, though. Like, why would you cut a man's? You know what I mean? Why would you do that? There's no other reason that you would do that, and other than like envy, right?
Right, and also to emasculate.
Right.
You know, one way to control that population was to emasculate the men and remove any type of authority from that man that he may have over his family, over his wife, over his children, and to strike terror and fear in those other folks, all the men, you know. So
Right.
that was a way to control a mass population, like a large group of millions of men and women.
And here's the crazy shit. Like, this is before I start reading, like, I only hardly even watch TV anymore. Like, I just read a lot of shit, and you know what I mean? I do my, I don't know, I got this thirst for knowledge now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just recently kind of found out that slavery really wasn't over. It still really isn't over.
No.
The peonage system is alive and well, right?
Well, here's what happened with the peonage system. There was actual peonage that went on from 1863 to 1867, full-fledged.
It's the 14th Amendment.
Right. Well, it wasn't
the 13th Amendment.
The 13th Amendment. And it wasn't, and well, that was a way to continue slavery, right, throughout the states. And in 1867, when it was outlawed, they still continued it. I don't believe that the first man was convicted of peonage until the early 1900s. I want to say it was 1908. So it continued, is what I'm saying.
And it's still continuing. Look at that prison industrial complex, right?
Bail is peonage. Restitution is peonage. You know, I think anytime you hold a human being in bondage over a financial obligation or an alleged financial obligation, and you forcing that man into like labor or whatever it is, that's peonage, basically. You know,
basically, so, in a nutshell, right?
Yeah, but you know, our government isn't going to acknowledge that, and they aren't going to say, "Listen, this is what we've been doing to y'all, and we're going to chill now." Like, come on, it's not going to happen.
Yo, let me tell you something. Like, when I was young, I remember you said something about South Africa a little while ago, right?
Mm-hmm. And apartheid.
Then apartheid, right?
Right.
When I was young, I used to, you know, look at when they was talking about apartheid over in Africa and Nelson Mandela being locked up and, you know, the whole nine over there, you know, people being killed and the racist shit that goes on over there. And I was like, I used to get mad or feel sorry for them. But I'm like, God damn, apartheid is here. We have it just as much apartheid here as Africa.
Right. Right. I think no.
And that's a shock. That was a shock to the system. Well, you know, I was like, God damn. I'm talking about them. I'm a fucking slave myself.
I need help over here. Yeah.
Right.
But here go the door banger though. So what you're saying is that was even you watching somebody else being a victim of racism while you're a victim of racism yourself didn't identify with the racism that you were a victim of. Right? Mm-hmm. So I think that leads us into something else that we want to talk about, the most racist thing that you've been exposed to in your life. And I say that because, and I want to introduce that topic with this context before we even elaborate or really get into that topic. In our lives, we've been subjected to racist systems that we don't necessarily even know that we've been subjected to. When something racist is happening to us, sometimes
happening to us that we don't even know about.
We don't even know this shit is racist. We just like, what the fuck was that? And then 3 years later, you're like, that was the most racist shit. Like, what happened? Like, yo. Listen, here go the question, and I'm gonna give you my answer, and I'm gonna see where you go with that. The question on the topic or the prompt was, what's the most racist thing you've experienced?
Personally, right?
Personally. And I gave that some thought. I thought it over, because so much racist shit has happened, right?
Right.
I'm getting there 50 years old, so I got a half a decade worth of experience to share with folks. But would I say the most racist thing that's happened to me in my lifetime was being arrested. That was the most racist thing.
Now I got to think of another one because you just took my John.
Oh, did I take your drink? Yeah, but I'm saying, and not just any time that I've been detained by law enforcement, but when I was a youngster, when I was a teenager, I was 16 years old, and I'd been arrested and charged with crimes, and I didn't even understand the crimes. The crimes was like possession of an instrument of crime and possession of a deadly weapon, a bunch of shit, right? And I was like, what the fuck? Not until later on in life, when I look back and I said, damn, There was no crime that was committed. There was no victim of any crime.
And they wanted to sock it to you, right?
And if I had been a little white boy walking around with a screwdriver in my pocket, they would have took that screwdriver and said, little boy, go ahead home somewhere. Yeah, if I would have gave them the same excuse, I'm going to fix my bike. And I was a little white kid, they would say, well, get your ass home, go fix your bike. Tell your mom and dad I said hello, I'll see them down at the lodge next week or some shit like that. But because I was a black kid, they hit me with charges that I'm like, y'all trying to roof a young boy for a screwdriver. So a little black kid with a screwdriver, I'm that much of a threat to society? Like, there's no way possible that I can be using a screwdriver because I'm 15 years old and I got a fucking newspaper route and my bike had a flat tire and I just took the fucking inner tube to the gas station to put some air on it since I patched it up. And now I'm going back home to put the fucking tire inside of put the inner tube inside the tire.
Yo, chill, B. You having flashbacks and shit. Chill. I ain't never seen a dark-skinned brother turn red before. Chill.
I'm just saying. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is real. Like, that was some racist ass shit.
Yeah.
Like,
I got a cop John just like that too.
That fucked with my whole life, Terry. Like, that fucked with my entire life up until this point.
Exactly.
That was the most racist thing that ever happened to me.
And it's fucked up because that shit follows you, right?
It still follows me today.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was going to talk about that too, but I got another one. Mm-hmm. Like, so you know, I'm in the corporate world, right? Mm-hmm. And even though I'm in the corporate world with my job and all that shit, I still do me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? God, I got to do me. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I get in trouble for putting this company out there. And this
don't put the company out there.
No, fuck them. Because they was racist. Fuck them. They was racist. Right. So I am going to put them out there.
So you chose violence today. Fuck it. Let's go.
Now look. So when I was in Philly, when I was still living in Philly, I worked at Subaru in Jersey, right?
Right.
I will not buy a Subaru till today. I will never buy a Subaru, right? Mm-hmm. I had this dude, and he was like supposed to be the manager or whatever like that. Yo, man, he was on my shit constantly. Then I had to pull the boy to the side, like, you know what I mean? Like, look, I don't know what your problem is, but I'm here to do a job, whatever. You know what I mean? If I'm not doing my job, that's one thing. But all this extra stuff, you know what I mean? I was fired after that, but still, you're not going to just say anything to me or do it or treat me how you want to treat me. And that's not me being like, an angry black man and all that. But if I respect you, you're gonna respect me. Right. And he was close to getting his ass whooped inside that place, but I was trying to be on my professional shit. You know what I'm saying? So I pulled him to the side. And, you know what I mean, bruh? Let me explain to you what this is, because.
Maybe let me holler at you for a minute.
Right. And it wasn't all hype, and I wasn't all ranting and raving and all that shit. Bro, let me holler at you real quick.
Right.
And then I told him,
come take this walk with me, bro.
Right? Yup. Next day. No, same day. At the end of the day, don't come back tomorrow. Right. All right, fuck it. You know what I mean? I can do what I do anywhere. Fuck this place.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That job.
Hey, yo, Subaru. If anybody in here got a Subaru or knows anybody that work at Subaru can go eat a bag of dicks.
Right. Right. In fact,
you know what I'm saying?
Listen, I had an experience similar to that on a job I was on, and I had spent a lot of time at this gig, and I really performed. Right, I really showed my ass. Like I made good money with these folks. Right, and And it was a fella. I'm not gonna put him out there. I'm not gonna say his name. He knows who he is. He might even be watching. He white guy, right? And you know, for the most part, he's a cool white dude. He's a cool dude, you know. I don't even want to say cool white dude. He's a cool dude, right? To some degree, I kind of liked him. You know what I mean? He was all right with me. You know what I mean? He was a little wild. I kind of liked him a little bit. You know what I mean? He get tuned up and act the whole fucking fool. I was like, oh shit, man, wow. But his performance at one point at the gig was slacking. It was off. His performance was off. And now he was good at his job when he wanted to be, but this particular couple, you know, months or whatever, he had a stretch where he wasn't performing.
Right.
So they called him and, you know, listen, bro, you ain't performing, this, that, and other thing. I don't know what the conversation was, but I know somewhere in this conversation, I wasn't there. At some point in this conversation, they mentioned my name. They had to. After their meeting, the vice president called me into his office. He said, "Guy, you got a second? I want to meet with you for a minute." I said, "Yeah, what's up, bro?" He said, "Listen, I was meeting with such and such and so. He said that he's not performing well because you keep picking on him."
Yep.
I said, what? I said, you said I'm picking on him. I said, do me a solid. Call main man in the office right now, because I think I want to address him face to face.
Right.
This is a man you talking about, right? It's not a woman. She's not gonna come in. She's not gonna cry. And you know, after I voice my opinion, let him know what I think and all that. So bring this grown ass fucking man who's telling you that he can't perform his fucking functions at work.
See, we tripping now because Stacey ain't here to talk us down.
We on the ledge like a motherfucker.
Yeah, we on the ledge like. But no, man. But the thing is, like.
He wouldn't bring the boy into the office though.
Right.
I had to go tap the boy on the shoulder and ask him to come outside and talk to me about that.
Right. You don't know how many.
Like, man, don't do that. Don't. If your shit jammed up, take that on the chin. Eat that. That's not for you to share. To say, if you, and not to mention, if you thought I was picking on you, bro, you were.
Why you ain't say something?
You a grown ass fucking man. He like 5'10", weighed about 280. I'm 5'8", and I weigh all of 170. And I'm like, bro. Like you couldn't say to me that I was
picking on you. Why you ain't say something or like you know what I mean? Yeah, that has happened to you know what this is the title that they give you in the corporate world, right? Mm-hmm. They say you're unapproachable. That's the word they use. Mm-hmm. You know how many times that they have said that I'm unapproachable? Mm-hmm. A lot.
Crazy. That's crazy.
And it's crazy. Like I'm a professional. So you can come to me if you got a problem, or you can come to me if you need help. You can come to me. You know, I'm good at my job. So a lot of people come to me for help and all that. Mm-hmm. But I've been told that, you know, people are scared of me at work, or people like, you know what I mean? Like scared of me. I'm sitting up here and provide. I don't even say, like, if I don't say nothing to them, they won't say nothing to me. Mm-hmm. That's to me, that's them being unapproachable. Right. I get that all the time.
Bro, at the gig I was at, I made it a point to be unapproachable. I didn't want anybody talking to me. In your line of work, people had to talk to you because of your profession and the service you provide. In my line of work, I didn't have to talk to a fucking soul. If I knew my job and I knew what I was responsible for and what I was supposed to be doing, it was almost like me being self-employed. I'm responsible for, you know, the revenue that I generate, the whole 9 yards. And what I did, and it got to, I'm gonna tell you the point that it got to with me and these people, because I realized, you know what, guy, the best way to not have a misunderstanding with these white folks that I work with is to not have an understanding at all. If we don't have an understanding, you can't misunderstand shit.
You can't misunderstand. If I don't say shit, you can't say I said shit. And you can't get it, you can't construe it different.
Bro, I didn't have to be a team player. It wasn't nobody on my team. I was on my own team. I was doing my thing. I knew my job, and I was doing, you know, better than anybody in that office that I worked with. You know what I'm saying? So it got so bad that it got to a point where this dude would speak to me in the hallway every day. I'd walk in the morning. He'd be coming upstairs. I'd be going downstairs or something like that. And he would speak to me every morning. And it got to a point where I had to stop him and be like, listen, bro, every time you stop and talk to me, and it takes like 3 minutes out of my day because you want to tell me this, you want to tell me that, you want to ask me about the fucking game and all that shit. I said, based on my salary, this is how much I make per hour. And if you break that down per minute, this is how much I make. Unless you want to pay me for this fucking time it takes out of my day every fucking morning to come in here and speak to you, I would suggest you walk the fuck on by and don't have a word to say to me, because you taking money out of my pocket. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
And I would
right.
listen. I listen. It's folks that will attest to that because that's the way it was with me. Because I didn't want no contact. I didn't want to speak to nobody. I didn't want nobody fucking
Right.
speaking to me. I don't want you coming around me. I don't
So
want you. Listen,
you were unapproachable for real.
by design, bro. By design. By design.
See,
I ain't want nobody talking to me.
when I'm in the corporate environment, I ain't gonna lie, I try not to be unapproachable. You know what I'm saying? I don't try hard, but like if you come up to me and speak, I'm gonna speak. If you come up to me, you know what I mean, and say, you know, whatever, as long as it ain't no shit that's out the way, hey, you know what I mean, we can talk, whatever. But you come with that bullshit and the corporate Terry is gone. Then you get TL. You know what I'm saying? That's the difference. Like TL is Terry is in the corporate world.
Right.
But TL is that same nigga from Patton Street in North Philly.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So
it's
a certain way you gotta like. I'll respect you if you respect me. That's the way I roll.
Let me tell you this, and as far as like the most racist thing, there was a thing I experienced from a black person, and this may have actually been the most racist thing that I've experienced. Now that I'm thinking about it, because now we're going back to employment. It was a fella I was working with, and this fella he was in a management role, right? I was not in a management role. I chose not to be in management. I had been in management for years, right? But I chose not to be in management at this company. They had offered it to me several times. I said, nah, they don't make no fucking money and blah, 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 right? So, you know, he comes in the door, you know, he gets his little manager's check and all that, which wasn't even probably a third of what I was making. But he's happy. You know, he walked around pounding his chest. I'm the man in charge. He flexing his manager muscle and all that dumbass shit.
Manager muscle.
Listen to this shit, though. One day I'm walking by him. This brother, he's a brother. He's going to say to me, he called me some dumbass, stupid ass fucking nickname. He said, hey, what's up, Cappy? And I'm like, bro, call me Guy. That's my name. Just call me Guy.
What he call you?
Cappy. Like, I guess you would spell it Cappy. So I walk by. As I walk by, I say, no, just call me Guy. That's my name. I go into the restroom. I come out, and he says, I was just that was a term of endearment or whatever. And I was like, no, bro, just use my name. That's cool. I'm good with that. Just call me Guy. So I go back to my desk. Later that week, it wasn't even 3 days. I'm walking past this man and he's going to say, good morning, sir. I said, didn't I tell you my name was Guy? He said, but I was giving you respect. I said, no. Respect me by calling me what I asked you to call me. Right. I asked you to call me Guy. He said, we got to talk about this. We got to go in the office. I said, all right, let's go in the office. So you telling me if I come to you and I ask you for something that you're not going to acknowledge me? I said, only if you call me my name. He's like, so what do you do when the owners come to you and they got a request? I said, ask any of the fucking owners that I worked with here for all of these fucking years.
What they call
would they address me? They would address me by my fucking name. Yeah, but I said, listen, bro, if you can't call me my fucking name, then you don't even have any requests for me.
Don't say nothing to me then. You ain't got no requests for me.
And I feel like because all of those other folks at that office that didn't look like me, whose skin tone wasn't the same as mine, they didn't have the same amount of melanin in their skin as I had, he respected them.
And called them by their name.
Their name.
Don't call me Slick. I've been called, hey, what's up, Slick? You just get a look like I will come over there and literally beat your ass. And then they won't even turn around real quick.
Now, in some environments, that's cool. That's cool. But if you're in a business setting, a corporate setting, and that's the way you behave towards other people of color, that's I think that was a tool of racism by the people who own the company.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? And
you ain't gonna call me by my name. I get it.
That's the first thing that they did to black folks that they dragged over here on them dumbass ships back in 1619 was change their fucking names. That was the first thing they did.
I hate this one too. Hey, bro, nah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Hey, bro,
if you can't. I'm not your brother. First of all,
right.
You know what I mean? Don't do that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not I'm in the corporate world, but I'll tell you the honest to God truth, guy. I'm not above whooping somebody's ass in the office. You know what I'm saying? The best thing that ever happened to me was me working from home.
Right.
For real.
Mm-hmm.
For real. I'm dead ass, man. I've been like I got a long work history, but
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of jobs in that work history because I'm man. I tell somebody to kiss my ass quick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I'm
I
saying? There's too many jobs out here to take somebody bullshit.
Right, and I agree with you. I think I've reached a point in my career now where it's like I, I I don't have any issues like that with my gig now. You know,
Right.
I was able to when I wrote out my personal statements for law school. I was able to really think about what I wanted to do with my career, what I wanted to do with my professional life. And 3 years later, where I am today, I would say 70% of the things that I wrote down in my personal statement, I'm actually doing right now. You know, so it's not even like work. It's like I really enjoy doing what I do now. And so I don't really, and I haven't experienced any racist behaviors in the place where I'm working now. I'm thankful for that. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I know better ways to handle that shit. And I'm glad that I haven't been put in a position where I have to, you know, address anything like that in the office.
Yeah. And even though I'm still in corporate America or whatever like that, you see how I look. Like if I gotta go in the office, I don't go in a bandana and all that shit. But I'm not shaving. I'm not cutting my hair.
Mm-hmm.
You get what you get. Long as I can do my job, I'm not cutting my crown ever again. Like I used to have locks all down my back before, you know, when I was in Philly.
Mm-hmm.
When I left Philly, you know, I had long locks. And then I was like, man, I gotta fit in with you know what I mean? I was like, they're gonna act a certain type of way if I got these locks and a beard and all that shit.
But you know what they saying now? Not right now. You know, it's courts all over the country saying it's okay for you black folks to wear your hair natural the way it grow out your scalp now.
But I wasn't paying attention to the court so much as I felt like I was selling out when I cut my hair a little bit. You know what I mean? I felt like I wasn't being me.
Right.
So in a way, COVID was a good thing for me because I ain't been to no barbershop and none of that shit. So I said, fuck it, I'm gonna get my locks back. And now, you know what I mean? I ain't never cutting my crown again, ever.
Right. I don't blame you. I don't blame you. All right. Well, I think we done reached the end of that roll.
All right. Anybody got any comments or questions or anything they would like to add before we get off the air? We appreciate everybody listening, and you know, we'll have our moderator back next week, so the shit won't go off the rails as bad. But you know what I mean?
So you're probably gonna be saying goodbye to me for a week or something. State's probably gonna put me on punishment for a week or some shit.
You was the moderator this week. You went from topic to topic, hit them joints like bang, bang, bang. All right,
All right, cool. I was trying to make sure I did my part.
Yeah, so like I said, man, hey, we interchangeable. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah.
Facts. Hey, but before you let us out, before you shut it down, I just want to say again, thanks for allowing me on. Thanks for letting me co-host. I appreciate that shit. So now y'all know going forward, anytime you need a co-host and y'all don't mind violence.
Oh yeah, we had you on speed dial anyway.
All right,
you know what I'm saying? Because when I had my little issue back when, you know what I'm saying, we know what type of brother we working with. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so you know
it's
I'm
all
here for all
good,
the
man.
smoke. All
you a real brother for real. You know what I'm saying?
I thought you felt like that. Listen, go Eagles.
Oh, yeah.
They won today.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know,
Jalen hurt them boys.
Yo, the Heisman Trophy winner, that kid Davis, he went bananas.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it was a good game.
I felt good about it. I got to see like 4 more games before I'm like, you know what I mean? Yeah, but they did good. They did good.
They did.
I know somebody just didn't put Dallas on my damn on the comments. Come on now.
Patricia
Dallas
said that. Patricia Trigger Edwards. Come on, Patricia.
Come on, Pat. Come on now.
End on a good note and all that, and you going to come on.
Yeah, you gonna end our show on a bad note. Come on, Pat.
One of these kids is doing her own thing. One of these kids is not the same.
That's right. All right, y'all. So we gonna end it on I guess we ended it on a bad note now.
Thanks, Patricia.
Oh, we got a comment saying hi, Lang. Ah,
I
yeah.
just grounded her up.
I
That's all.
know. Yeah. I see you. I see you, guy. You got fans on this joint already. You know what I'm
She's trying to
saying?
redeem herself.
They gonna vote me off this joint. They gonna be like, fuck that. Get
The
God back.
island. Yeah, no.
They gonna
All right,
vote me
what's up,
off the
Patricia? How
island.
you doing?
So, God, last thing, man. We do want to get together eventually on the community center shit. I wasn't supposed to say nothing about it. Sorry, Stace. But but we working on we got a lot of shit working in the background, and it's just a couple of us right now. That's what and it takes it takes a lot of planning, and it takes a lot of money, and it takes a lot of resources. So we trying we trying to get our community where it needs to be. So y'all just what I mean, y'all just stay tuned, okay? Promise. All right. So we'll talk to y'all next week, same time, Sunday at 8. And glad we can have you in our digital neighborhood.
Thanks for showing up, everybody. We appreciate you. Peace and have a great week.
All right.